All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to race 6 of the International Racing Series GT4 Championship. Today we're here at the Nurburgring GP circuit. Some nice conditions. We'll run you through the order here during the formation lap. If you've watched our previous races, I recommend. If you haven't watched them, I recommend you go back and watch. If you're here with us after following the rest of the season's antics, welcome. Got an interesting race today. We've got a few new drivers. Apparently the series has gained some popularity, and we've got a grid of 14 cars. So yeah, we're in for an interesting one today, certainly. On pole, we've got our 1600 Turbo. Turbo is a very fast driver, A+ or S-rated driver in sport mode. Grabbed the pole in qualifying. Should walk away, being that he's a new driver, has not accrued any ballast, so he's at the standard BOP, in-game BOP. In second, we've got Timlor. Timlor, as you're aware of previous races, our first repeat winner in the series. He's taken 2 races. Took last week's race at Monza, and also had a previous win at I want to say Brands Hatch. He's fully laden with the full 5%, the max ballast that a driver can accrue. So it's going to be interesting. We see if he can stay with Turbo here. They're both very fast drivers, highly rated. In third place, we've got Whitey. Whitey has picked up a ballast allotment. He's going to be operating with an additional 2% ballast. So he should have a good race. Should be competitive. Certainly not going to be likely to keep up with Turbo. But we'll probably give the rest of the crew a run. Mo Power, also 2% after a nice finish last week. GTP Guido, another new driver to the series, and we got to thank Guido over in Germany, staying up late to race with us. So hopefully that speaks volumes of what he's seen with the series so far. Also does not have any additional ballast. Led the Iron. He's cleared out all his ballast, so should be competitive. Be interesting to see what the Cayman can do here. Again, he's got no ballast, so he's good to go. 7th, Moby, carrying 2% ballast. Let's see how we can handle that. Ace Boy, who first appeared last week at Monza, put on a good show. Got 1% ballast from his 3rd place finish. Another new driver, Damon, 84C, a very good driver. Should be interesting to see how he does. Kaneda, the first of the Pro-Ams, no ballast. Race Fan, I believe it's Race Fan in the Ferrari, no ballast. Willow, 28, no ballast. And all the way back in 13th, Gentleman Racing with 3% ballast, really hurting him. And then we have Drummer. So we're coming around to the front straight. The car should be forming up. I'm going to bring up the telemetry for you here. Very unprofessional. Right at the race start. And they're off. Accelerating. Sorry about that. I always forget to turn it on. You'll note that I'll have a... Turbo. Already a significant gap right on the front straight. Ooh, it's a little loose coming out of the tight turn 1. Timlor. Just behind, led, 4th, Mo Power in 5th, Whitey, Guido, Ace Boy, Damon and Moby, little argy-bargy, going through the stadium section here. Ace Boy back in 9th. 10th we've got Willow, 11th we've got Kaneda, 12th we got Gentleman Racing's picked up a position. Drummer, it looks like Drummer had an incident coming out of the stadium section. So Race Fan, racing well. Gentleman Racing picking up some damage. We missed it, but it looked like Kaneda got a little loose and got it to the side of him. Kaneda's got a little bit of damage too. Looks like Gentleman Racing picked up some aero and right front suspension damage, and then Kaneda got a little damage as well. I hate to see that. It's not a way to start a race, but these things happen. Looks like he got loose. You know, nothing intentional. Aston Martin just roaring away. Interesting to see the lap times and so on and so forth. Yeah, with Timlor. You gotta remember, Timlor's carrying 5% percentage points of additional weight, well over 100, I'm gonna guess about 140, 150 pounds of additional weight. And you know, the game does a nice job of simulating the impact of that additional weight. So very, very interesting. Led all the way up to third already, with no ballast, managing to get by Whitey, who's carrying 2%. Got Mo Power, oddly enough, running racing mediums. It'd be interesting to see if that was intentional or not. Looks like everyone else, as we go through, is going to be on the racing softs, but nevertheless holding his own in 5th. Damon looking to hunt him down, making steady progress quickly here. Sporting quite deliberate, I must say. So it looks like we may end up with a little bit of a pack battle here. It's looking like 5th all the way through 9th is going to be interesting. The AMs are close as well. As we mentioned last week, we're going to try to start paying a little more attention to what's going on, because we've got Willow, Kaneda, and Gentleman Racing's in the pro category, but he's languishing back there with a poor qualifying effort. And Race Fan in 13. Race Fan started the series but missed a couple of races due to personal reasons, and now he's back, so he's got some catching up to do for sure. So the first flying lap, we got Turbo ribbon at 2:06. It'd be interesting to see how low those times drop. He's running the racing soft, so he's got that's the optimal tire. Super softs are not available in the series. Perhaps in the future, to get some feedback from the participants at the end of the season. We got Timlor hanging in there. And just as I was about to shut off all my sound effects on my cell phone, of course, it makes a sound. So I have to turn all that stuff off and carry on. Looks like Led and Whitey are engaging in some battling here. Looking good. Oh, Led runs a little wide, deep into turn 1. Not a difficult thing to do for a tight corner. Drivers now are really starting to get to know one another. Damon lagging a little bit behind. It'll be interesting to see if he makes up the time. Mo Power, oh, wide. Rejoins. No harm, no foul, but certainly a risky maneuver. This is in the early stages of the race. Drivers are more inclined to try to, recover immediately from any offs or mistakes, and you can see him. Gets into the dirt, comes back in with Ace Boy close behind. Let's go on board with Ace Boy. See what it's like. You see Damon up ahead. Moby. Little contact. Mo Power seems to be... I'm going to guess that was a mistake to go on the mediums. Seems like he's struggling in this pack with those mediums. They are provide significantly less grip than the softs. And Ace using all the curving on the inside of that previous turn. Using some curving here. So nice Nice queue of cars. It looks like the top four, the top two, first and second, have separated. You got Whitey and Led up there. Just went through the chicane as the second group, battling for that final podium spot. And then this gaggle of cars here. I mean, I guess Damon's got a little bit of a gap here, but we'll see how things develop as we go. Damon's got no ballast, let's remember. And Moby, however, is dealing with the additional 2%. So. Ace Boy. Maybe a little put off by Mo Power's offs there, so he looks like he may be looking to hang back. That's the tough thing in this race. Do you hang back? Do you push every corner? Trying to maximize your outcomes and take advantage of other people's success ballast. Oh, Mo Power super wide again, and not picking up any penalty, which tells you, you know, depending on how much you trust the game's algorithms, that he's not gaining anything by going way out there. It's just it's probably simply a function of the fact that he's on mediums. Let's check on Guido and Willow here. Guido going deep into the hairpin. Neither one of these two drivers are carrying any ballast. Let's check on the leader. A 2:03.7 on lap 3. Opening up a huge, not huge, actually, a decent gap. You know, it's gonna be very, very interesting to see in future races. Hopefully Turbo can see the rest of the season through, because we would love to know how things will turn out as he accrues ballast and Tim Lore starts to shed it. What that matchup will be like. And really interesting that, yeah, he's got a few seconds gap, Turbo does, on Tim Lore. Undoubtedly helped by the ballast. Tim Lore dipping into the high 204, it's almost 205, so with ballast, those are very impressive lap times. Whitey appears to have gotten by Lead, and he's opening up a gap. Folks, if you're watching the race, feel free to oh, Whitey gets the left side rear tire onto the dirt, holds it together, but that had to have cost him. Lead reeled him in a little bit. Damon holding down 5th. Mo Power being hassled by Ace Boy. Be interesting to see if Ace Boy tries a move on Mo Power before the pit stops. You know, it's tough because being on the sauce for Ace Boy, those tires are going to wear. Probably starting to see a little bit of an effect with the tire wear set at times too. So he's going to want to try to get by Mo Power. At least I would try as soon as possible with Mo Power being on those medium tires. You know, you got to do it as soon as possible because the mediums aren't going to wear. So whatever times Mo Power is running, he's going to be able to sustain those longer. Guido in 8th with Willow and Moby in close proximity. And Moby, having started in 11th, is making some progress, but I'm sure it's not anywhere near to his satisfaction. We'll be catching up to Guido now. So looking up to pick up a 3rd position. Let's see how they're doing in the back here. Sorry guys. Gentleman Racing started 13th. He's up to, despite the damage, he's up to 11th, so picked up 2 spots. And we have to remark that although he's not having the same luck, this week Gentleman Racing is sporting a McLaren F1 inspired tribute livery to commemorate Carlos Sainz's first podium finish and phenomenal drive from 20th to 3rd. I mean, he did grab 3rd as a result of a penalty to Hamilton for his collision with the Red Bull driver of Alex Albon, but nevertheless, nice looking livery. Feel free to throw your comments in the comments below the video. Let us know what you think of it. I'm trying to get you guys to comment, whoever's watching. Tim Lohr up front, looking like Turbo must have pitted. So Turbo pits early on lap 8 and grabs a set of racing mediums. Unconventional strategy. Be interesting to see if he gets it to work, because he gave up the lead and he comes out of traffic with lead challenging him. Gave up the lead, gave up 2 positions to pursue this strategy. Tim Lohr and Whitey now in 1st and 2nd respectively, but they haven't got the kind of crazy lead as a result of that pit stop that would totally eliminate Turbo as a factor in the race. Let's go on board with Turbo. This is sorry, this is lead. Oh, Bargy. Oh, you're getting the flashing lights from lead. Is lead feeling a little hard done by? Let's see if this continues. Maybe lead feeling like Turbo barged his way through there. Set of fresh mediums. Don't even know if he took fuel. Yeah, he must have, because the drivers start 75 liters. It looks like that's what he's got about now. So is he planning another stop? This is looking like it might be a 2-stop strategy. I mean, those tires would certainly last, but we're not certain that that amount of fuel he's got, which is about 5/8 of a tank, are going to last. It's going to last 15 laps with the fuel consumption at times 2. Got Tim Lohr going into the stadium section. I think that's what it's called, the stadium section. That's what we'll call it here. You guys can correct me in the comments. It's looking like I don't have the split numbers. We don't get that in the replay. PD, think about giving us that in the replays with an update. But the gap seems to be coming down. We'll come back as it closes in. Let's check and see. We got Ace Boy in 6th, Mo Power in 5th. Ace Boy falling back from Mo Power. And if he's not careful, he'll fall into the clutches of GTP Guido. Willow in the lead amongst the Pro-Ams in 8th. Gentleman Racing now in 9th. Looks like Damon may have had an incident. He doesn't have any damage, maybe just an off. And Gentleman Racing still nursing front aero damage. driver's side front suspension damage. Terrible. Moby back in 11th. No damage, so you know, just an off. It was up in 9th at one point. Race fan at 12th. Kanita 13th. Drummer at 14th. Tim Law still leading. Whitey just coming out of the final turn with Turbo in hot pursuit. Turbo, I'm thinking, is going to need to dispose of Whitey as quickly as possible. Let's go on board, see how he does it, if he does it this lap. Remember, again, 2 Corvettes in the lead, Tim Law and Whitey, the GT4 Corvettes, which isn't a real thing. We'd love to have the GT4 Camaro. Come on, PD, we can do it. There's 2 Camaros in the game. Alright, I gotta stop doing that. They're respectful requests. I'm not whining. Really, I'm not. Well, maybe. So, Whitey loaded down with 2%, Tim Law with 5% ballast. This may be the lap where Turbo makes his way through. Blue flag's waving for Drummer. Drummer ghosting. Will it be a factor? He's got the hazard lights on, stays clear of these 2 guys to allow them to race. Let's take it to the TV for the hairpin. Oh, Whitey fights it. Whitey fights it. Turbo stays patient. See Tim Law not too far ahead, a few seconds. Maybe about 5-6 seconds ahead. Whitey signaling, moving right there. Not wanting to see Turbo make a move. And look at the line Turbo takes through turning, setting himself up nicely. Let's go back on board. Let's go back on board. Turbo last lap at 2:06. Oh, it's inside. The hairpin. And just blasts up the hill. The full power of that Aston Martin. Wonderful sound. Let's listen to it. If this indeed is a 2-stop strategy, sorry to cut off the engine sound, but if this is indeed a 2-stop strategy, when will we pit? You know, still 12 laps to go, got quite a bit of fuel. The racing mediums are still looking good. One would think he's going to look to run through all this fuel, pit as late as possible, throw some softs on, and see what happens. But will he catch Tim Law and regain the lead in the meantime? Yeah. Looks like there's quite a substantial gap. For now, we'll check back in a bit. Let's see how the rest of the field's doing. Mo Power with a Healthy gap. Lead now up in third. We've got Whitey in the pits. Whitey fought off Turbo as long as he could. It was inevitable because he was going to have to pit. Lead looking like he's pitted. Low Power looking like he's pitted. Ace Boy looking like he's pitted. Whitey's just coming out of the pits in 6th. Damon in 7th. Looks like he may have picked up a position. No one's in the pit. Moby up in 8th. Guido in 9th. Willow in 10th. Race Fan in 11th. Kanita in 12th. And Gentleman Racing 13th with a repaired vehicle, fresh racing softs, and enough fuel to run the distance. Drummer also looks like he's pitted. So not looking like folks are all that close, although Ace Boy being pursued by Whitey. Whitey, you remember where Whitey was running in the top 3 and pitted, fell back to 6th, so he's looking to regain his position. Gets alongside Ace Boy into the chicane, gets ahead, done nice and cleanly with surgical precision. Got 2 cars in the pits. We got Lead pitting and Timlor pitting. Guess I was wrong. Those guys had not pitted. Timlor comes out in 2nd. Fresh set of softs. Remote Power in 3rd. Whitey in 4th. Ace Boy up to 5th after Lead took fuel and tires. So see if Lead can recover. See if he can catch Ace and Whitey. And in this queue, it looks like Mo Power is still on racing mediums. He's got to be coming in. There's 10 laps left. Some drivers can calculate on the fly and make adjustments to their strategy. It's definitely a skill that people work on and can improve. I don't know that I've developed it, but I would have thought that maybe Mo Power would have pitted earlier to get off these tires as soon as the window opened up for him to be able to carry through the rest of the race on fuel. But who am I to question what he's doing? He's up in 3rd right now, so it's just going to be a matter of how many positions he loses when he does pit, because I believe everyone behind him has either pitted earlier or just recently pitted. So we'll have to follow and see what position he comes out in. Whitey got what by Ace Boy and formed a little gap on him. And Mo Power stays out. Oh, Turbo got by on the pit sequence. Turbo got by under the pit sequence. He was able to close the gap enough that he was able to get by, and now he's got, it's reversed, it's flipped now. He's got about a 8-second gap. I'm guessing here because again, he's not giving us the full access to telemetry when we're doing replays. So perhaps in the future we'll just broadcast these live so we have access to replays and all the other fixins. Oh, Lead picking up a penalty, slow down penalty, a full second. Gonna have to Just gonna have to nurse that penalty until it can burn off. Yeah, I guess there are ways to do it strategically. Brake a little earlier after long straights and so on and so forth. But sometimes I do it by I do it organically by making mistakes through the course of a lap. You know, locking up a little bit. Ace Boy with a little upgrade to the livery. I guess the sponsor, Elf Lubricants, stepped up, gave him some materials to wrap the car in, and upgraded the livery. It's looking nice. I do say so myself. Now, Whitey, one would think, is on the hunt for Mo Power's third place, but it's inevitable. Mo Power is going to have to come in, and he does so right now. And with Whitey already having made it through the chicane, it looks like Whitey's going to regain his third place. Let's go through the order. Turbo with a sizable lead. Back to Timlor. Turbo on the racing mediums. Looking like he's going to need another stop. Timlor with a nice gap to Whitey. Led, burning off a smidgen of his penalty in fourth. Mo Power now on racing softs. And enough fuel to carry him through, I think. I think this Mustang's a little thirsty. I don't know if he's got enough fuel there. I'm sorry that you can't see it, trying to maintain privacy for the drivers, but I'll let you know I have access to it. He's got, quite a bit less than half a tank, and he's got 8 laps to go, so we shall see. 6th position, we got Damon being pursued closely by Moby. By now, all of the pit stops and everything are done. You can see Ace Boy in the background there, hoping that these two engage in some battling and lose time so we can reel in and try to capitalize. Let's go. Moby is still carrying ballast, 2%, and Damon with no ballast. Damon defends. Moby with another run. To get alongside. Damon shuts the door on him, shuts the door, slams it. So I don't think so. I don't want any of that, what you're selling. And now Moby on the outside. We've got Turbo. Turbo just came out of the pit. Sorry to break away from that battle between Damon and Moby, but so now Turbo pitted, took a little bit of fuel, switched back to racing softs, and he's on, right on Timlor. And now this is not a reflection of anybody's pace, but the 5% ballast that Timlor is carrying, one would think makes it inevitable that Turbo is going to get by and seal that first place finish. I mean, the ballast, it's very subtle what it does to the cars, but it definitely impacts overall pace, kind of messes with increases the tire wear a bit. A lot of management of driving technique needed to deal with all these elements that you're faced with. And again, the tire wear and the fuel wear rates, they're not astronomical. It's ×2 fuel consumption and tire wear. So it's gradual. Not like some of the things you see in sport mode, you know, ×10, 11. It's just ridiculous, rendering most of the tires completely unusable. Timlor, I wouldn't say he went defensive there, but he is now. To me, that final corner has basically one line to it, unless you dare to go outside to make a pass. But here, Timlor seals off the inside, parks himself on the exit of the corner, and Turbo's going to have to either settle in or go for an unconventional outside move where there's no grip. Offline track settings as far as grip are set to real, so you do lose a little grip if you go on the outside of the non-racing line. Oh, and he goes outside through the left-hander and has the inside for the next corner and makes it by cleanly. Timlor keeps it tight, but races as the true gentleman that he is. Not conceding, but you know, no sense in making contact and jeopardizing your own and excuse me, everybody else's race. He's gonna grab his 2 points. Unfortunately for Timlor, he's not going to shed any ballast because he's finishing on the podium. He manages to hold on to this position, which, with Whitey coming up 6 laps left, in that kind of a gap, it's doable. But we know Timlor's quick and capable of managing a gap under equal terms. Led up in 4th, still nursing that 9/10 over the second penalty. Power having made up some time on Led now that he's on the racing sauce, but you know, will they hold out? They're showing a little wear, but they look pretty good. Where they're fresher tires, where Led's tires have quite a bit, not quite a bit, but probably twice as much wear. Not a whole heck of a lot though. We'll see how they look towards the end of the race. Damon, Moby now being hassled by Ace Boy. Interesting to see how that turns out. Guido, 9th. Willow and Kanita and Race Fan, Pro-Ams all within a second of each other. Yeah, the Ferrari over both of them. Wonderful. Thank you. No whining this time. Gentleman Racing, even though he repaired, he's got good tires, he repaired the damage, suspension's good, aero's good, still struggling. Had to run all those laps with the damage. No sense in pitting, you just lose. You lose, the whole race is over at that point. But let's see if he's able to make up any time. Let's run through the order. I know we kind of sort of have run through the order, but let's run through it and then we'll come back and I'll shut up for a lap on board with you know what, let me shut up now for a lap on board with Turbo, seeing that he's just starting a fresh lap. there you have it, a lap on board with turbo. Phenomenal. 2038. Tim Law in second. Whitey in third. Led's still working on burning off that penalty in fourth. Still being pursued by Mo Power. 6, 7, 8. Damon. Moby. We're getting aggressive here. Moby with the little contact. Swerving. Damon just getting demoted to 7th. Look at staunch defense by Moby. Just holding that tight inside line. Damon goes back out wide. Gets in front of Ace Boy. That was close. If Ace Boy had got on the brake. Oh, Damon. This is quite the battle here. Damon with the cutback on Moby. Regains 6th place. It's the back end loose. Looks like Ace Boy might have a run on Moby if he's not careful. He's gonna try to outbrake him down into the hairpin. Oh, what he does! Grabs 7th. Goes right on Damon's tail. That Mercedes supercharged. It's got the legs on the Porsche going up the hill. With all that torque. You can see it open up ever so slightly. Yeah. That was the place to make the pass now. Oh, and Moby's not letting it go. Moby super aggressive today. Clean though, for the most part. You know, a little argy-bargy here and there, nothing criminal. So, and who do we have back there in 9th? We got Guido, Kanita in 10th, Willow in 11th, Gentleman Racing in 12th. Looks like Gentleman Racing got by, got by Race Fam. Race Fam must have had it off. Oh, Gentleman Racing closes right up on the hairpin. Can Gentleman Racing pick up any more positions with 3 laps to go? Just coming up, ending lap 20. We shall see. And Damon, Ace Boy, and Moby still at it. Moby looks to have fallen back a little bit. Maybe he's letting Ace Boy have a go at Damon, see if he can benefit from that. What a battle! This is nice. This is nice in the midfield. You got Damon, no ballast. You've got Ace Boy with 1% due to his podium finish at Monza. And then you got Moby, who's still a former race winner, by the way, at Blue Moon Bay Infield A. I believe that was race 2. Still shedding. He's got some other podiums too. Still shedding ballast as every race goes by. He'll lose 1% today, but presently he's carrying 2%. So you got 0. Damon's got 0. Ace has got 1. Moby's got 2. And Damon knows it. He's probably thinking to himself, I gotta make the most of this. Lock this 6th position down, get away from these guys. Because if those guys behind him start mixing it up, losing time, in addition to having ballast, gives Damon the opportunity to really open it up. I know I cut away abruptly, but we got this other battle amongst the Pro-Ams that we have to tend to. Oh, and Gentleman Racing had gotten by Willow. He's up to 11th. How far can he go? How high can he go? I don't think there's no real chance of catching this group. And Guido's Guido now may potentially be in the mix. Lap 22 of 23. So we got this lap and lap 23. Let's see what he can do. Oh, and Moby falling back. Car's looking a little ragged through turn 1 there. Ace Boy though. Pressuring Damon. Where can he get him? Moby all of a sudden resurgent. Oh, and he's super. You can't see it, but he's very low on fuel. Guido's looking good on fuel. Moby is very low. So is Ace Boy. So is Damon. So is Kaneda. Kaneda falling into the clutches of Gentleman Racing, making a comeback of sorts. Alright. Moby. Moby keep away, hold Ace Boy at bay. Damon hold on to 6th. Final lap. Guido. He's gotten by Moby. We think it's a fuel issue. Moby is just essentially out of fuel. He may be completely out. He's still pushing. We'll have to come back to this. Ace Boy. Nice 7th place showing. Let's see where the leaders are. And Turbo coming into the final chicane. We'll get through the hairpin. Yeah, and it looks like there's no doubt at this point. Turbo secures the victory. 2nd place, we got Tim Lore. Turbo, for his troubles, will pick up 3% ballast for the next race. Tim Lore will hold on to his 5%. Whitey, coming in 3rd, will get an additional 1%. Everybody else is going to shed weight. Anybody else that adds any. Low Power carrying 2%. He'll drop down to 1% ballast for finishing 4th. Finishing off the podium, you lose 1%. Led the iron. Car's a little beat up and bruised, but he locked 6th. Damon holds off Ace Boy. 8th, Guido. And 9th, Gentleman Racing. Up from 13th, not a bad showing. Looks like Kaneda grabs 10th. The first of the Pro-Ams. Kudos to him. 11th, Race Fan. Willow with front end arrow and suspension damage. Oh, that's terrible. And Moby's got no damage, but fully and thoroughly empty fuel tank. And Drummer is gonna wrap it up 14. So congratulations to a driver new to the series. Heck of a first appearance with a win. Congratulations to Turbo. Congratulations to the other podium finishers. Tim Lore in second and Whitey in third.